Attempting to watch 1,000 games of football before the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and I'm going to be ranking every single one to find out which game is the greatest of the season. Even more Premier League action being covered today as Tottenham take on Burnley. Tottenham obviously had a really rough league campaign last season, have a new manager in Thomas Frank, so it's very important to see how they sort of kickstart their season. And on the other hand, Burnley, after just coming up from promotion, haven't had the best transfer business so far, in my opinion. They've been quite lackluster, bringing in a few decent players, sure, but no real sort of players that I expect to make a serious impact and keep them up this season. So I was very interested to see how they would approach this game. And let's just say Tottenham dominated right from the off. They had plenty of good chances early on, and this would culminate in the 10th minute when a Mohamed Kudus cross from out wide managed to find the feet of Richarlison, who managed to turn home a half volley into the bottom left-hand corner to give Spurs a 1-0 lead. However, after this, a really sort of severe shift in the game sort of occurred. There wasn't really any moment that brought it about, but Burnley just started having chance after chance after chance, and Tottenham looked really poor, especially on the counter. They didn't provide any opportunities. They were poor when Burnley actually managed to counter and get attacks going. Their positioning was awful, and they were just losing the midfield battle, which I really wasn't expecting from this game. However, luckily for them, Burnley were absolutely awful in front of goal, could not convert any chances. Anthony had a good chance, he couldn't convert. Hannibal had a good chance, he couldn't convert. Lyle Foster had a chance, he couldn't convert. And so Tottenham managed to hold on until they managed to get another goal. That same partnership of Mohamed Kudus whipping it in to Richarlison. This time it wasn't a half volley, but instead a scissor kick on the volley to manage to turn home a second goal. Now, Richarlison doesn't pop up with too many goals, but when he does score, they somehow always manage to be the most batshit insane goals you've ever seen. This guy has a stupid catalogue of goals, which is hilarious, to be honest. Spurs would kill the game late in the 80th minute when Brennan Johnson managed to get in behind the Burnley defence after a ball from Pape Sarr and managed to finish one-on-one with Dubravka to make it 3-0 to Spurs to end out the game. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because unlike the, Sunderland 3-0 result against West Ham, in which I can comfortably say Sunderland performed like they deserved to win 3-0. I can't say Spurs really deserved a 3-0 margin for this game here, purely for the fact that they were really, really poor for a large period of the game. That entire period of the match in between the first and second Richarlison goal, Burnley, I'd say, were probably the better side there. They controlled the game well. They had majority of the chances. Spurs looked poor at both ends of the pitch. But, I think any bigger team other than Burnley is going to seriously punish Tottenham, and they've got Man City next, so let's see how that goes for them. Overall, this game was completely fine. Nothing too special, not the best 3-0 I've ever seen, but wasn't bad at all. I'm going to rate this game a 6.9.